Right now, somewhere in the world, a notification is going off, and then another one, and another. We live in the loudest era in human history. Our mornings begin before we've even opened our eyes. A buzz, a ping, a headline that demands our attention before we've had a single conscious thought. We scroll through carefully curated lives. We consume opinions, trends, and highlight reels at a speed the human soul was never designed to process. And yet, in the middle of all of that noise, most of us feel strangely, deeply quiet inside. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, the empty kind. Busy calendars, full schedules, and yet a nagging question that won't quite leave us alone. Is this it? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Maybe you felt it, that quiet suspicion that you are living someone else's script, running someone else's race, chasing a version of success that, if you're honest, doesn't actually feel like yours. If that resonates with you, stay with us, because today on the Wisdom Walk, we're going to slow down long enough to hear something important, something ancient, something that speaks directly into the noise of modern life. We're going to talk about finding your God-given purpose. There's a phrase in Latin that has echoed through centuries of theology and philosophy: imago Dei, the image of God. In the book of Genesis, we are told that humanity was not mass-produced. We were not an afterthought or an accident of the universe. We were fashioned deliberately, intentionally, in the image of a creator. Think about what that means for a moment. When an architect designs a building, every element has a function. When a composer writes a symphony, every note has a place. There is no wasted detail. There is no meaningless stroke. If we carry the image of a purposeful God, then we too were designed with intent. The Apostle Paul captured this beautifully in Ephesians 2:10. He writes that we are God's handiwork. In the original Greek, the word is poema, the same root from which we get the word poem. We are not projects, we are not problems to be solved. We are poems. And a poem, by its very nature, was written to say something, to mean something, to move someone. Here is the shift in thinking that changes everything. Purpose is not something we invent, it is something we discover, because it was placed inside us before we had the language to ask for it. The noise of the world tells us that we must construct our identity, build our brand, define ourselves by our productivity, our platform, our following. But wisdom whispers something different. Wisdom says, you were already written. You just need to get quiet enough to read yourself. Now, and this is where it gets fascinating, neuroscientists and scripture are not in conflict here. In fact, they tell the same story from two different angles. Neuroscientists have discovered that the human brain has what they call a default mode network, a system that activates not when we are busy, but when we are still, when we are reflecting, when we are imagining our future, processing our values, and asking questions of meaning. In other words, your brain has a built-in mode designed for purpose-seeking. But here is the problem. We have flooded our minds with digital noise. Every scroll, every notification, every viral video triggers a release of dopamine, a chemical that feels like reward but is actually just bait. Dopamine says more, faster, next. It creates the sensation of excitement without the substance of fulfillment. It keeps us endlessly consuming and quietly starving. Contrast that with serotonin and oxytocin, the neurochemicals released through meaningful connection, genuine contribution, and aligned purpose. These chemicals don't spike and crash, they sustain. They are the difference between the high of 100 likes on a post and the quiet, deep satisfaction of knowing you helped someone, created something real, or spent your gifts in a way that mattered. One of those feelings fades by the time you close the app. The other stays with you when the room is dark and the noise has finally stopped. Science is telling us what the soul has always known. We were not made for distraction. We were made for meaning. And meaning is not found in the volume of our lives. It is found in their depth. So how do we begin? How do we find our way back to purpose in a world that profits from our distraction? Here are 3 wisdom walk steps, not shortcuts, but signposts. Step 1. Silence the noise. This is where the journey begins, not with a strategy, with solitude. Every major wisdom tradition in human history has practiced it. The Sabbath in Scripture, the Desert Fathers, the contemplative monks, even Jesus himself regularly withdrew from the crowds to be still. There is something that becomes audible in silence that cannot be heard above the noise. Begin with something simple. 15 minutes in the morning before you reach for your phone, a walk without headphones, an evening without screens. Not emptiness, openness, an invitation for clarity to arrive. Step 2. Identify the gifts. Here is a truth we often overlook. Your natural gifts are divine clues. The things that come effortlessly to you, the way you see problems others miss, the way you comfort people who are breaking, the way you build or teach or lead or create, those are not random. They are a signature. Ask yourself, what do I do that makes me lose track of time? What do people consistently come to me for? What breaks my heart enough to move me to action? At the intersection of your gifts, your passion, and the world's need, that is where purpose tends to live. Step 3. The small obedience. We tend to wait for a dramatic revelation, a burning bush, a clear cinematic calling that tells us exactly where to go and what to do for the next decade. But purpose is rarely delivered all at once. More often, it is found in the next right thing, the small act of faithfulness, the conversation you leaned into instead of away from, the gift you offered even when no one was watching. Purpose unfolds as we walk, not as we wait. We live in a world that is desperately loud, and in that noise, it is easy to lose the thread of who we are and why we are here. But here is what we want to leave you with today. You were not placed on this earth to perform for an algorithm. You were not designed to chase a version of significance that leaves you hollow. You were written with care, with intention, with a purpose that the noise cannot erase. It may be buried, it may be waiting, but it has not left you. And sometimes finding it begins with nothing more than the courage to be still enough to listen. That's what the Wisdom Walk is about. Ancient wisdom, modern life, practical steps for people who are ready to trade the noise for something deeper. If this resonated with you, join the walk. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss a step. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and leave us a comment below. Tell us, what is one area of noise in your life you are ready to silence? We are walking this road together, and the path forward begins right here.